Brakti Hawa, Brakti Hawshai, Brakti Hawa, Brakti Hawshai, Brakti Hawa, Brakti Hawshai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, Kal Halalim La Hawa Alahai Nawa Bahasham, Yahawshai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Just a quick one. In 2014 or 2015, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, but 20, when was this? 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. By 2017, 2018, they announced congestion charges in London, which basically is a method where Esau, the so-called white man, is trying to cripple the economy further. Now, it's all done by design because the powers that be control every aspect of society. Now, if you've got one supermarket that sells a bottle of wine cheaper than another supermarket, all right, they're all owned by the same people. So they play games with their organizations. So if you think that you can get a bottle of wine for like $15 from one place and it's $10 from another place, a mediocre bottle of wine, right? But the bread is cheaper than the other place and the bread is expensive in another place. It's all owned by the same people because it all levels out to the same. Okay. Um, if you understand my drift. So for example, they play like if you own two supermarkets, all right, you can get certain things cheaper than compared to the other supermarket. But it all adds up to the same because they're all still making money. All right. So a supermarket maybe have a different name, may have like different middlemen running the show, but right at the top, the owners are all the same people that old money that Esau's had for generations. Like that's why you got the banks, newspapers, large organizations and firms, supermarkets, and stores that are run to this day that are owned by old money, which is slave money, which these Edomites have accumulated over the destruction of the Israelites. Okay, pursuant to Psalms 83. You know, and Esau's had a good run where they've had made a ridiculous amount of money, and now that time is coming to end where this place is going to fall. And one of the ways they're doing it is they're crippling the economy. So basically, what they were saying in London was because of congestion charge and the environment, and for pollution and things like that, they want to charge people. So the other question comes, which arises in your mind, is okay, if a person keeps their old vehicle but can afford to pay 17 to £20 a daily, or I think it's £12.50 a day, which is about probably $15 a day to drive your vehicle in a part of London for 24 hours until 12 o'clock the next day, midday, then you got to pay £12.50 or $15 again, right? It doesn't make sense with if they're saying that they're trying to save the environment, because a lot of people will still pay the fine and still have their polluting vehicles. So what about that then? So a lot of people will say, okay, I'm retired, I'm not trading in my classic Rolls Royce, right? I've got the money to pay the £12.50 a day, right? So therefore, it's not really conquering the pollution problem, is it? Because people are still going to drive their vehicles, all right? People are still going to drive their vehicles in other parts of the country where there isn't a congestion charge. The reason why they're doing it in London, because London is a major hub, okay? And what they're trying to do is they're trying to cripple the economy. So a lot of people that drive older vehicles, that are hospital workers, that work for the local council or the government, cleaning the roads, picking up trash, whatever role you have in life where you require a vehicle on a daily basis, right? And it's an older vehicle, right? And they're going to want to charge you. So therefore, there's going to be less traffic coming into London, and there's a lot of high streets or strips that are being pedestrianized as well to stop the flow of traffic coming in. And they're also trying to make parking very, very, very difficult as well, where everybody needs an app to park now. You can't pay with physical cash. There's one or two spots still available where you can use coinage, but for the most part, and this is affecting the elderly because they're not so tech savvy. They're not going to know how to use an iPhone or another phone or whatever to to pay for certain things. Because they're old school, they still pay with cash money or they use a credit or debit card. You know, it's going to affect a lot of elderly folk. It's going to affect their pockets. Um, it's going to isolate a lot of people more where they won't be able to visit certain family members. It's going to cripple businesses, you know, and because you know how it is. Like for example, I'll give an example of myself. I'm driving through town, right? There's a smaller supermarket that has cold beer in the fridge, and I want to get some. But then I say to myself, I don't really want to risk parking there because I might get a ticket. I don't want to risk parking there because I might get a ticket because I parked in the wrong place. You know, because back in the day, 25 years ago, you could just park anywhere. 5 minutes, run into the store, grab what you need to grab. Company, organizations still made their business. You know, the flow of traffic would still come in and move on. But now a lot of people are bypassing certain areas because getting to that store is a pain in the backside, especially when you drive vehicles, right? And that's for your regular consumer like myself. So obviously, this is going to cripple businesses, all right, and add more tax on top of tax. Okay, so people are drowning in tax, and also with the increase of goods and services and amenities as well, where bills have gone through the roof. So this is all done to destroy the economy. Okay, now you're looking at certain areas. Okay, now London is another major hub. Now where else? Where else are they doing it? Okay, they're doing it in New York as well. New York City unveils America's first congestion pricing. Now, when was it? When was the deadline? It was because I had to sell my car, which was a diesel, right? So I had to get something else. Thwada Yahweh Hashem Hashai, he blessed me with another vehicle, right? Yeah, and my estimation was right. It's £12.50 here in the UK, and in America it's $15. $15 tolls for driving in certain areas. And that's going to cripple a lot of people. And people are already bitching and moaning online about, I can't afford this. And do I go to work or do I put gas in the car? If I put gas in the car and I go to work, I'm just breaking even, or I'm still going in the red because I'm just, I'm spending more than I'm earning. And New York is another major hub, a financial hub, a hub for consumerism. When you see certain movies or even certain businesses that are well to do, what does it always say there on their store? They have the company name on the side, and what does it always say at the bottom? New York, Paris, London. That's where their major stores are, or that's their major hubs where they've got huge stores, right? It will say, for example, let's just say, right, let's just use a designer label, right? Let's just say Gucci, for example, right? I don't know. I don't know. Any designer label, right? At the bottom, it always say New York, Paris, London. All right. So they got London already congestion charged up, which was September. When was it? Yeah, it was August. It was the end of August this year. August, September, October, November, December. Right. And 4 months later, they're unveiling New York's first congestion charge pricing. So back to back, within the same year, they've hit London and New York. Okay, and other parts of the world will follow where they've got like a huge consumerism. You know, they may hit Paris, they may hit Milan, they may hit Barcelona, wherever there is congestion charge and people go there to shop, and all the huge designer stores are there, and other stores where people like to shop. Those are all going to get hit. Okay, I'm just checking out right now if Paris will get hit with congestion charge as well. Let me see. Okay, all right. Paris urban access regulations. What's it there? Yeah, Paris does have that. Okay, LEZ, right? Which is which is abbreviated or stands for lower emission zones. So if you see LEZ regarding congestion charges in the UK or other parts of the world, LEZ stands for lower emission zones, and okay, so in France it costs €4 and 61 cents or pence. right? So which is basically about £5 a day, which is probably like about $7 a day, right? This is, it's still, hey, listen, $7 is $7, man. Okay, it's still a cost, and it adds up on a daily basis if you got to work. 7 times 6, that's $42 a week. That's a lot of money. You know, yeah. And if you don't pay the basically you buy a sticker in France. If you're going to France from the UK, or if you live in France, if you're entering a certain area, you have to go to a place or a store that sell these stickers. You buy a sticker and you place it on your vehicle. Okay, and you place it in your vehicle and you pay the toll for the day to drive in that emission zone. It's called the Critère anti-pollution vehicle sticker in Paris, which was, according to the news here, is dated the 21st of November 2023. So, as mentioned, my assumption was correct. So they're all going to come for all the major hubs to cripple the economy further. And those of you that have something to compare, you can see that everything is crippling. Okay. Now, if you've been jumping from job to job over the last five to 6 years, and you've changed your job at least once a year or every 18 months, you know how harder it is to find a job. You know that you are inundated with interviews, say 3 years ago, right? And now, all of a sudden, that's getting slower, right? That goes for everyone across the board. Therefore, there are jobs, but there's a lot more people looking. So your resume or your CV, your curriculum vitae, would be, instead of being number 10 in the pile of resumes, it'll probably be like number 175. So you might not even get looked at, right? Or your application that you've given, right? Because if you go into all the places where people are applying for work, you can look and see how many applications have been sent, just to get an idea how work is being scarce. So the lack of work, price hikes in everything in terms of amenities and goods and services, right? The value of the dollar, pound, euro uh, is plummeting to a level where, you know it's basically like monopoly money, right? People complaining, bitching, and moaning about everything because everything's so expensive, right? And then even on a general level, like in terms of entertainment, you can see it because we older guys, if you want to call us old heads, cool. Us older heads have something to compare, right? Because we can compare the era that we grew up in, all right, compared to now, how much mirth and liveliness it was in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, how the music was way better, more flavor, you know? We were younger men back then. We were all sucked into the, baby, baby, I love you, and buying women flowers and shit like that. There was an age of romance and R&B back in them days, right? Now you compare um, the world now. The music is trash. Okay, Generation Z, they call them Generation Z because even Esau knows that it's the last generation. Their minds are warped. They don't have no creativity. They all dress the same. They all look the same. They all sound the same, like they're from the South. You know, sounding like what's that Jake with the big black circles under his eyes? Bougie badass? No, no, no. What's that guy's name? Bougie? Not bougie badass. Boozy badass. Boozy badass. All sounding like him. You know, which is sad and good at the same time because sad is we've got nothing to listen to while we're here, nothing to view while we're here, but great in fact that because this place is ending, which is the best, because we want this place to go, so the mirth is dying, you know grinding is dying, no work, price hikes through the roof. Now what do you think that's going to happen next? you know and they're already talking about certain countries like China, or other parts of the world, uh, preparing to do some kind of cyber attack. You know, and certain currencies being launched in January. You know, certain changes taking place in 2024. and the dark energy in the air. Those that are spiritual can feel it and see it. But you know what it is? Being in the truth gives you time to breathe, take a sigh of relief because we're in the truth. You know, it's exciting. I mean, you get pissed off most days. Just the anger, just the way the world is. Everything feels like Groundhog Day. Some days you're just going through doing the same thing, you know. But then you do your praying, you watch the videos, you feel better, you know. You knowing that there's something better around the corner coming. But it's got to go through the trenches first, you know, which is Jacob's trouble. But this place is doesn't have long left. And I don't think they're going to do all that, the Karagma by 2030. I think it's going to be way before that. Because 2030 is a heck of a long time away. The way the world is right now, I don't think it's going to hang on the way it is for another 4 or 5 years. I highly doubt that. But whatever's the Lord's will is the Lord's will. We're just got to deal with it. But I don't think we got long here left, you know. I'll be surprised if we can't get past 2024. I hope we don't. I hope this, Esau's queendom falls, you know. But I just got to wait on the Lord. There's a couple more prophecies to play out. World War III is already started. Revelation 11:14. Just got to wait for the Karagma, which is the MO to the T to the B, which is a C hip, which is that piece of technology they put in your left or right hand or in your forehead or in your butt cheek. Anyway, that's still the mark of the you-know-what. Revelation 13:16. Mark of the BEAST. You know? And then all these things happening, you see the curses coming on our enemies, man. You know, all these old crackers, these old heathens begging on the street, asking for money. You know, these same Edomites that are old and decrepit right now, being, right now who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, or whatever, begging on the street. They were the same Edomites in the 70s and early 80s with their shaved heads, skinheads, doing racist attacks against brown people, black and brown people, here in the UK and other parts of the world. And prior to that, there were slave owners lynching Jake in different parts of the world, murdering Jake. Now these crackers are begging. I mean, I'm a child of the 70s, so I grew up holding my mother's or my father's hand, walking down the high street. You would never see an Edomite begging on the street. You would never see that. You would never see that. Now you see nothing but Edomites. Yeah, there are a couple of brown faces thrown out there as well that are begging, but for the most part, 90% of them are Edomites, as well as other heathen nations. All right. Deuteronomy 30, verse 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies. And the Lord thy power, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Okay, so all these curses are going upon them, man. You know? You can see the kingdom being translated from one people to another. You can see it. You can see in our lower level power, right? We're the salt of the earth. We create all the trends and we create all the inventions. We've made every meticulous part of the society and world tick to Jacob's flavor, you know, even though some of that flavor is wicked. Yeah? But now you see these curses coming on our enemies, man. You know? They're all miserable because they know this is it for them. This is the best it's going to get for the heathen. Okay? This is the best. But for the elect, the hopeful elect, whoever they are across the four corners of the earth, those men, women, and children, this is exciting. We want this place to fall because we know there's better days tomorrow, man. Listen, man, if it wasn't for Yahweh Shemashah and this truth, bruv, straight up, man will probably be on some, Lord forbid, heavy chemicals, like you were in the world, like most of us used to do the dumb SHIT back in the day, you know? Call Allah Yahweh Shemashah for his mercies, for his truth, because, man, it gives you a sigh of relief, a room to breathe, and it gives you a warm feeling in your chest and stomach, in your spirit, ultimately knowing that, you know what, man, better days are going to come, Lord willing, very soon. So we don't fret about it, but the rest of you people do. Why? Because This is it for you because you got so much invested in it, especially you two-third Jakes. You dumbasses don't even know that you're Israelites and you want to be here so much. And a lot of you sellout Jakes like you Steve Harveys, you P. Diddy's, or whatever. You can't even imagine. What did Sinetta say? What did what's his name? Polite. What did he say? Oh, your sky daddy's gonna cut the sky open? Haven't people been seeing cracks in the sky? Haven't people been seeing the sky certain things in the sky, chariots and stuff like that? Haven't people, even Edomites, been seeing visions of a so-called black Messiah, of the angels looking so-called black, of Edomites, so-called white people being in slavery? You made mockery of that, right? A lot of you two-thirds, a lot of you Jakes that don't believe, can't even believe the fact that we can have a world without these damn devils ruling over us. You just can't understand the fact that this whole place is going to be changed for the better. You think the world is always going to be like this. You have no idea. Your mind is enclosed in a small space. You need to expand your mind. Spirit, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. But this truth can only, you can't make yourself believe, man. This is a gift of Yahweh Shem Shai to know this truth, to believe. I mean, look at me, for example, an Israelite foreigner. I didn't know anything about the Israelites or the Judites or the Ammonites or the I didn't know about the Ammonites. Forget the Ammonites, the Japanese. I didn't know about the Judites, the Benjamites, or the Levites, or the Gadites, or the Reubenites, or the Ephraimites. I didn't know nothing like that. I didn't even have a Bible growing up. But I used to always question one thing. I used to always think when I was a younger boy, why are people in a hot country all so-called white? Why is the Jeebus look so-called white? I used to always think that. Then I used to have, I don't want to start digressing now. Salakia for that. Yeah, so these curses are going on our enemies, man. All right? And the hopeful elect, wherever they are across the four corners of the earth, are waking up. Ecclesiastes 12 and 4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, which is literal. Okay, there's no mirth in the streets. Doors are shut in the street. It's quiet. It's grey. People are begging. People, are looking at their mobile phones, all wearing Crocs and shit like that. People don't have to dress no more. It's like living in a black and white movie, which is good because we're at the end. Grinding is low. No work. No mirth. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. The music is trash. There's no flavor. There's no goose pimples. Your hairs don't stand on your arm when you listen to something like that. Any kind of music. When I get that feeling of really good music, it's like when you listen to some Motown from the 70s. When you listen to some, I like the oldies, like a lot of Issacharite brothers listen to the doo-wop and the rock and roll of the 50s and the 60s. I love that stuff. It makes you reminisce and be nostalgic of a time you weren't even a young man at that time. And the 70s, Motown from the 70s. Hell, even disco sounds better than the crap today, And I'm not going to front on disco, man. I like the Bee Gees. And the Bee Gees are Israelites anyway. Okay? As well as other groups. Most of them are Jake. Some of the music in the 80s, the soul and the R&B. That's the kind of music, I listen to. I mean, just a little side note. I was watching an interview of Russell Peters. Russell Peters, the East Indian comedian. I think he's a Jake anyway. All right, I think he's a Jake. Russell Peters. Guy's got nothing. You got to watch him and read and listen to him about his life story. I think he's a Jake. He said he said to this day, because he's a DJ. Before he started stand-up comedian, he said when he was having interviews with Charlemagne on Power 105, he goes, when I do a gig, He goes, I can't put on no new music. He said, I can't put on no new R&B, if you call it R&B, or new hip hop or whatever. He can't do it. Charlemagne started laughing. He goes, I just can't do it. He goes, that music just, But he basically just said it, not in so many words. He basically saying it's shit. S-H-I-T. The music is just trash. You know? For a booming economy, you need good music. You need good flavor. Okay? You need a good atmosphere. And the 80s, early 90s to the mid 90s was the last era of that so-called flavor of promise of the future in the air. Okay? Everything's online, online, online. People are buying all these clothes. People are buying all these things online, but there's no venues to go to. You know, you can still go out. There's a couple of places here and there to go out, but a lot of people are not going out like that no more. You know, a lot of people aren't doing that no more because everybody is depressed. You know, but for the hopeful elect, the hopeful elect, listen, if your heart isn't smiling and you don't have that warm feeling in you of this place is falling, even though, okay, yeah, it is going to be a scary time, but if you still don't have that warm, if you don't have that happiness inside you of this place falling, then maybe you need to sort of reconvene with yourself and pray to the Lord and say, listen, Lord, what's wrong with me? Because you should be happy with this place falling, man. All right? So this congestion charge, back to the facts of the matter, is just another method that they're using around the world in all the key cities like New York, London. ULEZ is ultra low emission zones, right? And they're doing these charges, okay, to cripple the economy, to cripple traffic. So traffic can't be entering certain stores, certain areas, to cripple that, right? And also uh, to further tax people that are already being taxed to death in every single way, along with the price hikes on everything. Oh yeah, just a side note, another side note. It's December the 13th today, right? I remember on my street where I reside, you would have Christmas lights and Christmas decorations on at least a month to 5 to 6 weeks prior to Christmas. People would have their lights flashing every night in their windows, and you would see Christmas trees and wreaths and all that shit. Now you don't see nothing. They may put it on the day, one or two people, but it's not like how it used to be. Okay? Esau, the so-called white man's kingdom is done. Okay? And I also believe the elect have been sealed. We're just going through the motions. Okay? Esau's kingdom is done. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, Mawatha Bad Babal, Kwam Yashwala. Shalom.